अस्सलाम वालेकुम व्यूअर्स, वेलकम टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल। उम्मीद है कि आप सब लोग खैरियत से होंगे। आज जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो है फ्रिक्शन। फ्रिक्शन इज़ अ फोर्स दैट ऑलवेज एक्ट्स टू अपोज मोशन। In some circumstances, friction is regarded as undesirable as it causes wear and tear and energy wastages. In other circumstances, friction is necessary. For example, a car will not move if there is no friction between the wheels and the road. The friction is essential for the car to slow down. If the road is wet, the wheels may lose their grip. Hence, it is important to have sufficient gaps between the treads of the car tire. The gaps help to drain away water from the area of contact between the tire and road. And the road, a film of water between the tire and the road will be disastrous when the brakes are applied. To study friction between two solid surfaces, a wooden block is pulled along a table using a spring balance. Figure 6.1 before motion occurs. ठीक हो गया. There is object, R is mg, weight is mg, R is the resultant and force is applied to it, static friction. When the wooden block is pulled with an increased force F, friction opposes the applied force F before motion occurs. Friction is equal to applied force. But in the opposite direction, the friction that acts before motion occurs is known as static friction. The maximum static friction occurs just before motion takes place. The maximum static friction is known as the limiting static friction and it depends on the nature of the surface is in contact, the forces that press the surface together. The limiting static friction independent of the surface area of contact. It is often mistaken that the wider tire produces more friction. The friction is independent of the contact area. The larger contact area reduces pressure and the reduced wear besides heat can be conducted away faster. Figure 6.19 Constant velocity, dynamic friction, force is applied to the object. When the wooden block is pulled with the constant velocity, the friction force just balances the applied force F. The frictional force acting when there is relative motion between the surface is known as dynamic and kinetic friction. Dynamic friction is equal to F, but in the opposite direction. Dynamic friction also depends on the nature of the surface in contact and the forces that press the two surfaces together. It is independent of the surface area of contact or the relative velocity between the two surfaces. तो व्यूअर्स, आज हमने जो टॉपिक डिस्कस किया आप लोगों के साथ वो है फ्रिक्शन। हमने फ्रिक्शन की डेफिनेशन देखी है, हमने फार्मूला देखा है, डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ फ्रिक्शंस के बारे में स्टडी की है, जिसमें स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन है, लिमिटिंग स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन है, जो कि जब एक बॉडी रेस्ट पोजीशन पर होती है तो स्टैटिक फ्रिक्शन होती है, एंड व्हेन द बॉडी इज़ इन द मोशन देन वी कॉल द फ्रिक्शन एज डायनामिक और काइनेटिक फ्रिक्शन। बोथ की जो फार्मूलाज हैं हमने वो भी डिस्कस किए हैं। होप्स सो आपको ये हमारी इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो पसंद आएगी। मिलते हैं आपके साथ एक नए टॉपिक के साथ अगली वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़।